Hello, and welcome to today's live. How are you, Syl? Good morning.
I'm most, I'm most excellent and enjoying timing, celebrating and enjoying timing. Most
Yes,
excellent, excellent and
yes.
wonderful. Brilliant.
Today is a bit of relaxed day for us because it's not like we both were busy and we were doing a lot of things. But sometimes you feel that energy from your surroundings that then the whole energy is asking you to slow down a bit, soft instead of even slow. I must say soft. Be more soft and gentle with yourself, with your own energy, with other people, with other things. And that is something I'm just feeling right now, that today's energy is demanding to be more gentle, more soft. Okay, while Sil is just taking care of a few things, and we will go right into the reading of Biella series, of course. My quick today's thought of the day. Sometimes I feel, because Sil has a very clear and absolute understanding, and of course implementation of having no expectations at all. For me, I'm not there yet, and actually I'm not making any effort to be there. Super reluctant to do that, because I feel that, okay, that is still I do have expectations. Mostly I do have expectations from people to be more appropriate, not proper but appropriate. Sometimes when you are making anything, when you are doing things, when you are saying things to others, the appropriateness, you are not wrong, you're not being rude or anything, but the appropriateness demands you to be more cautious, because especially like when making comments on social media platforms. For me, even if right now no one is watching, but this live and everything about the work about like Way-of-Impeccability and Moreness-Project is so important for me, so precious and so important. I'm super cautious of. I'm trying my best to be as appropriate, as um, yes, as appropriate as possible. So when I see something which is of course again not wrong, but just giving a wrong impression, I personally feel that I expect from my friends to, if they have something which is okay, they are trying to give me some caution or some hint or some advice. Please just my messenger, my personal messenger is open. You can always say whatever you want to, because I still do have some expectations from people. I don't want anyone to have any wrong impression about that, because I'm putting so much effort into all these things. That was my thought of the day. I understand what is the intent behind that. I understand what the words are saying, but the perception, you can't control that. And this is where I feel I expect just to be more cautious about that. That is my understanding. Because this whole way of evacuating, especially lives, I know that for Sil is like nothing. He just come and he just do that. But why he is and how he is able to do just like this, it's a decades of work, practice, continuous practice, learning, continuous learning and implementation behind that. Behind just like, okay, now he's just talking. I can ask him anything at any time. I can do whatever I want to. This freedom, this liberty, what I'm just enjoying right here, still has decades of hard work behind that. That's why it is so precious for me. For me, it is fun, yes, but that fun is coming after very hard work. That's why I'm here and I ask questions and I just enjoy every single bit of it. I need to be more appropriate. I need to be more professional into this. I'm learning, and I'm really trying my best to do that, because this whole project, this whole live, the books Sil is sharing with you guys and of course with me, it deserve these books, this content deserve thorough professionals. Really, I don't feel that okay. I'm really okay. Oh, I'm deserving for this. No, I'm deserving because I'm really willing. That's the only criteria I have. eligibility criteria I have right now. But really, this reading needs thorough professionals. This live needs a thorough professional, and we need a professionalism here. So that is my thought of the day. Syl, I hope that you are done with all your things.
No, not. Facebook is having a problem.
Okay, no problem. So the
Problem
appropriateness and of
with
course the capital D diplomacy from Nobelia or Nobelia diplomacy is a big, huge deal. It is not what you do just for the need, what is required. We go a bit extra, sometimes way more extra, which is not needed, which no one is asking. We are not obliged to do, but we still do the extra. And that extra is real moreness. That extra is the real gesture. And I still have. I'm not, I cannot shy away from that, or I cannot hide it. I do have some expectations from myself, and of course from others also. I do have expectations. And I think that, okay, it might take very long for me to get completely free from expectations. My expectations is not that, okay, they have to come and do something about it. No. But my expectations right now, show some gestures. That is something I feel personally. And I have been, okay, it is in my friend circle, it happens many times with me. I have been putting mm, way more than, of course, their expectations, and of course what they really need, and all sort of other things also. I was doing much, way much more than what actually I supposed to do. But that was my own choice, and I was doing that. In return, my friends were okay. Some were completely like they were assuming that, okay, oh, it's an opportunity, just grab it and take whatever you can, and then they ran away. They were not my friends. I was supposing them, which is also good because they gave me a different lesson. Not because that I'm not going to do this again. No, I will do this because that was my deliberate choice. They were not asking. I did that, so I took full responsibility of that. But they gave me a lesson that when you give someone more than what they really want or they really need at the time, it overwhelms them. And you must be very careful about this. I said, okay. Some friends gave me a completely different lesson. Give me that because they become more humble, more nice, and more caring towards me. And of course, that was a completely different lesson. And I was like, okay, yes, if you have your innate goodness dominant in your personality and you will get something, you receive something good from any source, you get more appreciative of that. That was another lesson. And that was really, really remarkable for me. So, and I'm learning to be like that. Yes?
Oh, keep going. It's fine. I
Okay.
mean, I don't want to break you.
Yes.
Saying
No,
wonderful.
no. Okay.
Here for
And
you.
and the third lesson was that when people really did something absolutely inappropriate and complete opposite what I was doing in return. And I was like, wow, how they can try to actually harm me, really trying to rob me out of my energy, out of my other sources. And that was something like, wow, how this can be like really happen. And I learned really a hard way. But now I see that okay, they were also angels in my life. They were actually giving me real caution that Beena, this is not your way. Okay, you can't be here anymore. Okay, that's it. So they were actually preventing me from getting more hurt or getting more damages or something really, really drastic for me. So that was okay. I learned this from Way-of-Impeccability that they were actually really good angels, that they were preventing me by giving me that smack, like, okay, yes, emotional and financial or whatever. So that was again a lesson. But in all those things, in these lessons, what I learned that, yes, because everyone said, okay, oh, there must be no expectation. And I was really trying hard to not have any expectations. But the thing I got like, wow, I still have expectations. I still have expectations from others. But my expectation is just trying to be appropriate. That is something because I'm just trying. I can only try. Of course, I can't be because I'm not skilled. I'm not expert into that. But I'm trying to
Do
be
is
appropriate in situation. And this is something, the expectation of appropriateness is not going away, is not fading away from my side. I still expect from people to be appropriate. And that is something really
right.
deeply connected to me. I'm not free from expectations, so confession.
Yeah, yeah. They're a deep habit. They're a deep habit. But
Yes,
as long as one is aware of those expectations, that's a great help. Now, you don't have to necessarily be free of them, but if you're aware and you notice it, and you say, "Oh, I'm expecting that," and then you can deal with it. Right? All right. Just so we see, look, here's my restream. Where this is restream is what I use for the multiple
yes,
live streaming. And look, it says
yes.
send data. It should say streaming like this, and then it gives you where you can view it. Yeah, but it hasn't.
Oh,
It just so something is wrong with Facebook. It's not sending. It's not finished. But
oh,
I made a post in group which said Facebook is having a problem with the live streaming, so you can go here and watch it live on YouTube. I tried to put the
yes.
thought that might work, but it didn't. So Facebook doesn't let you embed it here. You know what I mean? And show it the video. Yeah, you have to click on the link, which I guess makes sense. I want to keep it. But anyway, in case somebody wants to go watch it on YouTube. So our normal won't hear this now. Just, she's not on anyway. So all right, no worries. So all good, all good, all good. Okay, let's go to the next chapter, which is chapter 27 already. Wow, 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 very cool. Look at this art here. Let's see. So, wow, that's kind of wild. Yeah, it is kind of wild because look at the question, right? All right, Beena, will you read, please, Beena? Oh, I can read either way.
I was just making comments on YouTube and
Oh,
from your
oh,
side.
oh. I'll read the question. You can reread it.
Yes,
Corrupt believing. You see, that's the thing here. If any objection you have is met with, you're blindly buying into the conspiracy. If every counter argument is just a trick because it's what they want you to believe, what's the best approach to having a fruitful discussion with conspiracy theorists? This is going to be very interesting because it's kind of almost a bit of an insoluble problem. But I thought this is showing the two halves of the brain and how they this conflict with it and problems and all this stuff, right? They're not listening and all this stuff. I thought that's very interesting. We're getting stuck in one side of their brains essentially, or one part. We don't necessarily have just two sides, but multiple, the front and back and middle and all sorts.
okay.
All right, Beena, please read.
Okay. I'm just reading from the beginning for myself.
Yeah.
Corrupted believing. If any objection you have is met with, you are blindly buying into the conspiracy. If every counter argument is just a trick because it's what they want you to believe. What's the best approach to having a fruitful discussion with conspiracy theorists? Wow,
Oh,
many people will not be very happy or amused with this. I like to come at the issue from an entirely different angle, one which understands the real issue, which is self promotion. But the key is non-conflict. So I come into whatever the theory is from a that's most interesting position, genuinely and earnestly asking for more. I prompt and ask for more constantly, but always from the position of being on the same side as them. I do genuinely want to know how it is that they have deceived themselves and want to get the root of how it came to be that they so misbelieve. Wow.
Yeah.
The process involves one of extending implications, asking about them and allowing the theorist to follow those implications, inevitably to contradictions, implosions, dead ends, and other elucidations of the folly, but all without me ever needing to say so.
Other elucidations of the folly. Come on. But all
Yes.
argumentation.
Yes, because I missed that line, so that's why it was a bit jumbled.
Yeah.
Elucidation of the folly, but all without me never ever needing to say so. I simply make an effort, sometimes takes a lot, and always requires extreme patience to give them the opportunity to fully lay it all out, to explain it out all in detail, to especially get to those basic premises which they never examine, and thus to have them see for themselves where the problems are with their position. Failing all that, sorry,
That's
failing
really
all
key.
that,
Selves.
yes,
We emphasize there.
okay.
Yeah. Thus,
Failing
to
all
have
that. Oops,
themselves
sorry,
with.
Syl. Please continue. It is a delay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it. Pretty done. Uh, Failing all that, one can always come from the assumed conspirator point of view.
Hmm. Okay. I'm continuing,
Right?
Syl.
Okay.
Failing all that, one can always come from the assumed conspirator point of view, but not one that goes too far and says what is not voiced but shared by all involved. It would be long to lay out, but in the end, after gradual build-up, it results in something like, yeah, it's so cool how when we push these conspiracy theories, it makes us look so cool. This said, with that complete assumption of the fact that they are doing the same, since they so absolutely are. It's really, really hard for them to refute or urge this when it's said as a kind of praise and not an
Or
attack of some kind. Argue, refute or argue this when it's said as a kind of praise and not an attack of some kind. The underlying logic is that the thinking is shadow thinking, which can only exist in the murkiness of assumption and corrupt agenda. Once exposed to the light of awareness, much is revealed. When we come at those agendas from the same side, we actually can get to the underlying motivations and the misbeliefs which supports them. This is where the awkwardness begins. None too easy. Yes?
so easy. Sorry, read it again.
Okay. None so easy to deceive as those so desperately willing to believe. None so easy
None
to
so,
deceive as those so desperately willing to believe. Wow.
yeah, none so easy
Yes.
as those so desperately willing to believe. Ursula A.
Ashla.
A very good book from Ursula.
Even
Very,
if it's by themselves. Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
more, a bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what
That,
Biella is saying,
yes.
first just listen and keep saying, and then what? And tell me more. And have them really explain in detail. Say, okay, that's interesting. Now, how did you, what leads to this? What's behind it? Like, I want to understand it all. And when that happens, This is actually very difficult because, of course, the conspiracy theories, that's what debunkers do. They go and they look at all the details and they say, yes, but, and then, well, now, for some conspiracy theories, they can get really detailed in this, right? But if you persist and keep going and you put it all together and you kind of hold it all together, at some point, there's the basic premise that's going to fall apart. Yeah. Like the flat Earth. Is the moon flat? Is the sun flat? Why is just the Earth flat? You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
a lot of things that don't hold up. But you don't want to ask it directly like that because now you're challenging. You don't want to be challenging. You want to be coming at this from the same side. So when they see that you're interested and you really want to know about it, like explain this to me. This is really cool. I'm really interested. I want to know how this works. But I'm very thorough. I don't just sort of take the first thing. I have to know all the details. Now they get all excited and they want to tell you all the details, but not in a way that you're being antagonistic, you see, because that you're one of those that you don't ever want to hear. And, they've gotten into your head and you'll never believe and all that. They come up with these excuses which cut you out. And that's what the questioner was saying, right? That how do you talk to people? You have to get inside and be inside the cult, as it were. And now you can discuss it. And the more they discuss it, the more the thing eventually implodes because it doesn't have reality. Right? It can't operate as advertised. All right, the self-deception choices. Now we're going to get into a little deeper understanding of the underlying psychology.
Okay. Just want to ask you something because Biella mentioned people that who are into this. Okay, oh, this is cool, and of course, self-promotion, the hidden agenda, and all these things. I was when I started actually surfing online. I was really, really interested in all these nowadays. I don't want to mention anything, but it was like the cool stuff. But
Now,
but
being a
what
conspiracy,
self-promotion? But
I
what
believe
self-promotion could be involved into this? Because I was not sharing with anyone. I was just reading like what they are talking about.
read, and you'll see how it comes. Yes, you'll
Okay,
see, you'll see.
okay, okay,
That's why I didn't stick with you because the
okay,
payoff wasn't there. All right, we'll see,
okay,
we'll see.
okay, okay. Self-deception choices. The fruitful end result, if genuinely and earnestly persuaded, is an understanding of the psychology of cool and how
Pursued,
it connects.
pursued,
Okay,
not persuade.
persuaded. You
No,
said persuaded.
there we
Okay.
still having
Earnestly persuade.
no, pursued. It must be if earnestly
Pursue.
pursued.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pursued is an understanding of the philosophy, psychology of cool and how it connects to conformity. How there is an assumption of validity because everyone believes it, even if that everyone is simply a prominent few in the social circle and others such logic errors. Hmm. Much is taken on as a personal stance when the personal self promotion benefits are so evident. If someone
right.
somewhere has pushed
So we
such a
asked about
yes,
how self-promotion comes into it. So take
yes,
this, right? When
yes,
you first got to Facebook, what was cool? It was all the conspiracy theories and the this and the woo that and all that, right? And it pulled you in because it was cool. Yeah,
no, no,
no,
no,
there
no.
was nothing
I,
involved.
I, no, 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 no. That cool factor was actually completely non-existing there.
Ah,
I was super isolated, and I got in my okay when I was surfing. So I got something like about okay. I don't want to name anything because then it will open up a lot of debate. But you know that okay, that stuff which
yeah,
now it's been like okay uh, labeled as school stuff or in previous years, but for me I had no idea that this is school because I was not in interaction with anyone, and of course I was not even aware of it. So when I first time saw all those things out of curiosity like symbolism, because I was reading
Yeah.
Dan Brown. So for me, the symbolism was like very interesting thing. Okay, that was the thing. That
Right.
was the
Now,
thing.
now in this case,
And then,
I'm yeah, saying
yes,
interesting and cool is related. Yeah. So
okay,
yes,
okay,
you didn't have to hear that others thought it was cool, but it was
yes,
interesting to you, which interesting is a very powerful part of cool. Yes.
okay,
So
okay, okay, okay,
it's on the
okay.
same scale, but yes, you didn't have that popular connectivity to what others thought it was
Yes,
cool. It was just cool
yes.
to you. Yeah.
And I came into interaction with people who were assuming and taking it as a very cool thing, and they were giving me impression that they know it all kind of thing vibe, like okay, oh yes, and they actually start talking about, and I was listening to them that okay, oh yes, okay, like I'm a Dumbo here, I don't know anything about it because I didn't share that much, but I was way much more aware than them at that time.
Right.
But for me it was like okay, because I was not satisfied with the idea, that's why I was not able to communicate it, like or share it. But okay, now I
Desperation.
understand. Yes.
Yeah, but you had no desperation for acceptance and popularity and self-validation and overcoming insecurity. You had none of that. You see, and that's what
Yes. Okay.
the difference. See, that's
Okay.
what you'll see. Keep
Yes,
reading, and you'll
yes,
see.
yes. If
This is very
someone
nice.
somewhere has pushed such a theory in a very cool way, but also complex and complicated, and the person sees they could not easily refute the cell of coolness, then they then have found a way to look cool. They now know, now know, cannot easily be countermanded. A slam dunk
On
for those to whom image and some sort of coolness is of paramount importance and whose honesty or lack thereof allows for such internal shenanigans. Hmm.
yeah. So take that paragraph there. If you
Yes.
come across these things and your already established intent is a desperation to be cool, or even not necessarily to be cool like a movie star cool, but just to be in, just to be accepted, just to not be on the outside.
Ah, yes. Now I understand. Now I understand. Yes. 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 Okay. Yeah. Makes sense now. To me, fruitful engagement does not mean being able to discuss, as one would do with those disposed to reasonableness, but fruitful with those immersed in such a bubble is hearing them, making the effort to understand them from the inside, and thus making space for them to share, share, share. The more they share, the more they then are able to hear themselves, and more they have to explain and justify. The more they come to realize just exactly how untenable,
No, untenable, untenable,
untenable their positions, ideas, and beliefs are. If one is able to
uh,
persist,
feasible, not viable.
yes, yes, persist and keep such a sharing going, the more that edifice crumbles, and eventually there's a realization they cannot actually justify their position. And it is then that one delicately and slowly can begin to ask for alternatives, shifts, commentary, and such on where they have been.
All right, so
But
here we come to a very, very beautiful and powerful point that Biella makes in an indirect way. Sorry, I'm just
yes,
fixing the
yes, yes,
spacing here.
yes, please.
Something went wrong with the justification. You see, it's all wrong here.
Hmm.
Uh, why? Uh, okay. Hmm. Interesting. Uh, it's not pulling the line. Anyway,
Yes,
that what what Biella is saying here in this last section here is very cute.
yes,
If one is
yes.
able to persist and keep such a sharing going, the more that edifice crumbles, and eventually there's a realization they cannot actually justify the position. the more
Oh.
and there's realization they cannot. Now, this is very crucial because the person came into this desperate and they really want this. They are going to become aware of an awful truth that they might not want to face and deal with. The awful truth is that they are pushing something which they know doesn't really work. Now, they probably knew that earlier on, but now it's become abundantly clear. Now, a couple of things could happen here, right? They now realize that they cannot justify their theory. Right? It doesn't hold up under scrutiny, under explanation. Either they will then abandon this, which is usually what happens, and maybe find something else, or move on and realize this is just I got caught up in something. Like you, at some point, you looked at these things and you said, "No, this it doesn't hold up," and you couldn't finish reading the book or whatever, right? So you let it go, and that happens. But here's the key point, though. Biella is not saying that you must in any way confront them or say, hey, your theory is falling apart. Just leave it. You've heard them. You don't have to make any commentary. You don't have to say anything. You have to let it happen within themselves, right? And now you can maybe over time, you see, and slowly can begin to ask for alternative shifts, commentary, and such on where they had been. Yeah, but that is going to be very situational. Yes, I mean it's possible, but obviously the slowly means that you have to ease into it. Yes, I mean maybe you can ask for an alternative, and then a week or a month later, and say, we have a different perspective on this, or what do you feel on it? And then they'll say, no, I got caught up in it, I'll let it go. Or they just say, I don't want to talk about it, which could mean they still hold the conspiracy theory, kind of, because they want to push it with cool, but they'll choose who to share it with. And that's very common, birds of a feather then sticking together. And that's what happens. They make the little clicks, and yeah, but you're on the outside, you don't know. And the reason that they have the little click is because they don't want people from the outside like you who bursts this bubble. Because it's a bubble that they like being in. Yeah, you have to be very careful. So it's very tricky. It's very, very, very tricky. Does that make sense, Beena?
Absolutely, it does make sense. And please, after reading this paragraph, the last one, then please elaborate a bit more about in the interesting part. For me, that was interesting, not the cool, but please just elaborate a bit more. Okay. But as Ursula so eloquently points out, it's their willingness which is the problem. A problem not within our scope to change. In such matters, knowing our limitations and the limitations of the interaction is crucial and cannot be underestimated. We are so eager and willing to believe in our own sobriety. We refuse to even entertain the idea of its lack. Biella. Yes. That is like, okay. Again, I want to say that the first takeaway. This is really can be as an example uh, for the Nobelia diplomacy. You can add this to that also, that okay, look and read this. By just reading how much understanding, of course, you can get about Nobelia diplomacy here, which is not manipulation but just simply giving a space. Wonderful. Okay, the second thing is that in
Oh, go ahead.
in that teenage mindset, when I was interested in, I might not have the vocabulary of like, okay, oh, it is cool and all that, because I was not interacting with other people at that time. So I just take it as I'm interested in, which could be without having the awareness of this idea of coolness. That was the thing. I'm different. I'm interested in this type of things. That could also be because now I have completely unique and interesting, which is completely uh, not connected to the reality around me at that time. Of course, the setback and all that. So that is something maybe, but at the core, that was the idea of just cool stuff. So I was not aware of the words. But that was the real idea. So anyway, yes, now I understand that. Personal promotion. I never actually, at first I was not aware. Second, when I came to understand a bit from Way of Impeccability, I was still not very much uh, paying attention to this idea that people do and say things just for the sake of having an edge above others in interactions, having having an upper hand in the interaction, and or in other words, like again coming back to the same thing, the superiority paradigm. I was amazed by many times when people say things and keep insisting on things which doesn't make any sense at all. Like it is not needed, it is not relevant, it has no substance, but still they keep insisting on those things. And I was amazed by that, and I was not getting like why they're saying. I was doubting their sensibility, but when sometimes things happen and still shared that they are not not they are sensible people. They are not stupid. But it's still why then my question was the next question was like, but why they are doing all these things? It's completely senseless. Why they are insisting on that? Let's just share that this perspective that they are doing it because this is their thing. They are giving you something, a new information, a cool information, a different perspective, a knowledge. And I was really shocked by the childlike mindset that we are so entrenched into this superiority paradigm that we do things completely childish for me. At least this was childish for me. Just to say things for the sake of having an upper hand or an edge on other people. And completely nonsense, not needed, irrelevant things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes they are not even nonsense, but they have no substance. Like there is no need. Why? It is completely irrelevant why they are sharing. But
yeah.
I never had that perspective, that understanding that they are doing it and insisting on it because of superiority paradigm. And now when I look at myself, I was I was depressed, not desperate, but I was depressed. And of course, I need to find something which I feel interested in, like, yeah, it's a new thing, which is, of course, equal to cool stuff. Even if when I was not willing to share with anyone, or I didn't have that opportunity, or I was not interested in, but still, I am doing something where everyone else is not doing. So that was kind of like try to boost my ego, which is, of course, again trying to be cool. So
Exactly.
sometimes the understanding of things comes like, okay, now I understand that. I was like, no, that the cool idea was not even in my thought. Yes, it was not in my thought because I didn't had that precise name concept of cool, the word in my mind. That's why I was insisting that, okay, no, I didn't have that. For me, that was interesting. That was just my vocabulary at the time. That's why I was using that. But
Right,
actually, at the
right,
foundation, at the core,
right.
that was the idea of being cool.
Yeah.
New stuff, new
Again,
discovery. I'm
in
the one
this,
who was doing.
oh,
Yes?
uh, I was going to say, Bina, in this deeper understanding of the word cool, it
Yes.
can, it's a very broad term, but it can,
Yes.
in this kind of instance, mean not just looking good, yes, which that's part of it, looking good in the sense of like admirable and appreciated, sought after, envy, even, right? But also it can mean acceptance, inclusion. See, so I might not be cool as you star cool or the most popular one, but if I'm included, I'm cool enough to be included. See, it's
Uh,
like a minimum threshold of cool where you become accepted and included, and that is what most seek. Some seek to be impressive and shine and look, and those are the ones that really push uh, these theories, you know what I mean, and foist them on others, and are very loud and obtuse about it. But others will just share them because they want to be included and accepted somewhere,
Yes.
and it doesn't matter. Now, if you look at uh, recently this has become a kind of at least in America, a former neo-Nazi. He popped a bubble, and he wrote a book, and he's been on TV explaining exactly how he had come to be there. He said, "Look, when I was a teenager, I was desperately lonely and vulnerable, and I didn't really care what they were talking about. All I wanted was to be in and to be accepted. They did. They took me in, and they were kind of nice to me, even though they weren't always nice. It's kind of a bit of a hard, harsh environment, but it doesn't matter. They accepted me and took me in. I become one of them. In other words, they would protect me. Now, if you're in a situation where you're lonely and vulnerable and really like physically vulnerable, not just emotionally, psychologically, yes, the moment you are in somewhere, you have that protection, you have safety, you've got a place to stay, you've got food to eat, etc. Right? And especially with like these kind of groups, they have a campus, and you know, but now all your worries are essentially taken care of. What do I care about what you're saying and preaching and talking about and your theories and beliefs? It's totally irrelevant. I have that have been crucial to me, safety and security. Yeah, and well, even better, I've got food and a place to stay and some purpose and activity. They don't care about what they're saying. Of course, over time, they actually start listening to what's being said. At first, they're like, whatever, I don't want to know anything about this. I may even deny it and just literally not hear it. But, when they start getting involved in real activities which harm people, it's like, man, I can't really stick with this as beneficial as it is. And of course, by that time, the guy grew up already and developed some independence of being, at least to some measure, that he wasn't that vulnerable and lonely anymore. But it's very crucial. And he said they target those vulnerable youth.
Yes.
They know this is easy for them to get conscriptees and pull me, right? Desperation.
Yes.
It's not just a desperate willingness to believe. Sometimes there's a desperate need uh, to not believe, but to um, uh, to conform or to accept. Right? It's sad, Beena. It's very, very sad. It's very powerful. Yes? I mean, this is a sad chapter, really. But again, we can't just always put fun, nice chapters in there, right?
Yes. No, we can't.
I mean, there's not one question that was asked uh, of Biella that was not answered. I didn't like say, say, oh no, that's a nonsense question. I answered every single one. Okay. And this is a very pertinent question, very real, because this is this came from a friend. I think so. I'm actually going to say dear friend here. Uh, that this pained them because it's like I think you and a friend, not conspiracy theory, but into a belief bubble, and they were mad for a while. They were just quite crazy, correct? They got caught up in a madness bubble. Um,
Uh,
yes, Beena? I think we've
yes.
all we've all had friends like that get caught up in whatever madness bubble. And it's
Yes.
it's it's really really frustrating. I've looked at this from many different ways. Now, I do understand it from this point of view of this willingness to be deceived. Yes, that willingness to be deceived comes from many, many reasons, not just loneliness or desperation or isolation, ego, wanting to prove you're right. I think also, and I feel very strongly, that sometimes what happens is a form of hypnosis. Yes. Look what happens when we are hypnotized. Yes. I mean, the stage hypnotist, which I did when I was 12. Right? I think I've told the story many times. I had a baby and was a dog and all of this stuff. Right. Um, but when you do it, you what you're being asked to do, but you just don't care and you do it anyway. Yes. Now, what if that hypnotist had said, "Oh, will you be a supporter of Mrs. X, the famous Mrs. X politician?" Okay.
Yes.
Or will you act like a supporter? Yeah. Now, it's all in that initial phrasing. I'm not asking to support her. I'm asking to act like a supporter. Yeah. I have
Mm.
no objection to this because when you get really down to it, if they ask you to kill somebody, no, I'm not going to be killing anybody. And it can't make you do something that you really are unwilling to do or that goes against your deep beliefs. But, to act like a supporter, so what? It doesn't harm me anything, doesn't cause anything. It's like me pretending to have a baby. Just pretending it's whatever. And part of me that cares, that switch. The part of me that says, well, I'm looking foolish and silly and idiotic. uh, you don't care. That's an artificial part. It switches off the ego. And likewise, if you're being asked to follow somebody and support them, like in a political sense or a conspiracy theory sense, there's a part of you that that says, well, I'm supporting them because this makes me a good person. A very interesting particular kind of a thing. And I really do feel this happens to people that they get hypnotized. And we don't realize it because it's more common than we would think. And we get and believe. And if we do, it's kind of like, oh, it's spectacle. I mean, sometimes advertising gets you, and you just get pulled into it, right? But more conspiracy theories, and and particularly political or any belief structure, the cult thing, or it may not even be a cult. It may just be a temporary bubble of you getting pulled into some influencers orbit. Yes, and you're like all into them and you buying everything they're saying, and then afterwards you realize, well, but it's that willingness to be a part of something. Like this gene, maybe, or this tendency is so ridiculously strong that people jump in, and when they believe, the first few things are all yes, 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 okay, this is what I want, this is what. They don't wait to discern. They just start believing. And then, of course, the thing bubbles on itself, and you've got, right, which now kicks in, and you see everything which proves your theory that this is worthwhile. Yeah. And so, in other words, it's multiple problems, but key in them is lack of awareness, discernment, and understanding, and that we are enabled to get them. And I feel that this is very, very important. Whenever you get into something that is very exciting, just postpone your full acceptance for a while. Don't get to it. Just say, okay, let me just wait, because I know in the past when I got in and I got all excited, I got caught up in the bubble. Let me first get a bit more information. This is awesome, is cool, this is wonderful. Don't say it right away. Right away sets up that positive confirmation bias. And now you start seeing the things that prove your willingness, or your early decision that says, this is awesome. And then you see everything that makes it awesome, and then you can get lost, right? And it takes quite a lot to break that bubble. And I've seen this fairly recently with some of mine. They get caught up in bubbles. It's a sad thing. It's a really sad thing. Okay, you can be in the bubble, you're not doing any harm, and it's okay. So it doesn't really matter. It's only sad because of them being in a bubble and they don't realize they're in a bubble. That's the only sad part. If they were consciously in the bubble and said, I'm doing it and I know their problems, but so what? Okay. But it's that blindness that happens from the confirmation bias that makes you blind. Even though it does not harm necessarily, but it still makes you blind. And whenever we're acting out of unawareness and ignorance, it's dangerous, right? Even though it may seem harmless, but you're developing an ability to be that way. So we have to understand this. We have to understand this. And when you have friends that are in such bubbles. Don't try and argue with them. Just accept, okay, that's your thing. You're in a bubble, and just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Yes, I mean, like I said, I have friends who have recently or fairly recently, like I have, who've been in those bubbles. I just don't deal with it. I just don't deal with it at all. Work around it, yeah? Because it's not necessary. I mean, they also have other things that they do in their lives that, all right, well, I'm kind of interested in everything, but that they don't necessarily share with me. I mean, they don't share their intimate details with their partners. I don't need to know that. It doesn't affect my relationship with them, right? Okay, and that's sort of an obvious one. But there are many things, right? Maybe they read romance novels and they don't tell me about the romance. Don't necessarily have to interact with every part of life. Sometimes we can just leave it be, even though they're making posts about this stuff and that. I just ignore the posts and I don't click on them. I don't like them. I don't say anything. I just ignore them. And then
Yes.
after a while, that topic stops coming on my feed and I don't see them anymore. Just use the algorithm. Use the algorithm. It's quite marvelous. It's quite marvelous. Yes, Beena. Oh, I've stopped screen sharing, but that's okay. We will end there today. Um, we
Okay.
are Beena and I are both in energy conserving mode. Oh, I just wanted to share again that this the other piece of art there in this. You may have skipped over it real quickly, but I thought it was very
Uh-huh.
powerful. That you got this going up. It's part of the grand scheme of learning. We need to learn not to be hypnotized, which is really what when you're in a bubble what it is. It's hypnosis, right? We just don't call it that. It's another word. Being in a bubble is being hypnotized. Because when you hypnotize, you acting within a bubble, and a bubble that is being suggested to you. When we get caught up in other bubbles, we're not aware of the source of the suggestion. Whereas with a hypnotist, we are. But many things can hypnotize us, right? TV ads, we can hypnotize ourselves. But I like this. Here is in the overall, they are actually moving upwards in life. Yes, because every time you deal with this, you get caught up in a conspiracy theory, in a cult, in a belief system, in following some capital L learning and growth. In other words, you are evolving. So you are moving upwards. But when you get caught up with those things, it's like you have these chains dragging you, and you have these demons that are, screaming at you. They don't actually attack you. They just threaten you. Just keep going. It's all illusion. It's all not real. Isn't that cool? You'll get the energy. Right? Just persevere. 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 So it's not a fun figure in a way. I think it's pretty cool. It's cool in a very different way, but it shows. It shows something. Yeah, it's really something. It's a very powerful picture they are. Yeah. Uh,
Yes.
on that note, interested or interesting.
Yes.
Being
Yes.
interested in something, in in what matters to us, what's valuable to us, what's in other words, it's another form of saying what's cool to us. Now, cool can take many forms. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yes.
cool because it's valuable. It's because it's profound. It may be cool because it makes me look good. Yeah? So cool can have many varieties.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now I
I mean, I
understand.
use yeah. Cool is like nice used to be. When I grew up, we said, "Oh, it's nice for everything," and it shifted to saying cool because, well, at school, Mr. Ackerman especially did not like this usage of the word cool. Ackerman was my English teacher in standard 6, 7, and 8, which is grades 8, 9, and 10. He was a cool guy. I liked him. He was quite strict, and people were kind of scared of him, but I thought he was cool. I mean, he's a good English teacher. He really cared. And we did Shakespeare. then, which fascinates me today. I wonder if they still do Shakespeare at school.
Mm.
Shakespeare might as well have been Martian for most of my friends, but we did it. Yeah, in the last two grades as well, which is really awesome. I mean, and he made Shakespeare enjoyable. He explained it nice. Anyway, I went to see, just as a by the by. This was I left that school at the end of, well, I'll just say 10th, because people don't know the standards, in the 10th grade. So the last 2 years I went to another school. And
Uh-huh.
then I'm not sure when I started my great music. It started towards the end of the school year. And I would be going back to that town, because I would go stay over with my best friend at the time, who still lived there. And I would just stay for the weekend, right? This is Mrs. Vanzaki. Yeah, that's his mother. Ivana was his name. And I'd stay over for the weekend and hang out. I had hitchhiked, and I hitchhiked back again. But while doing this, again with my friend, he had no idea about my big reading project. It's just in part of my private self. He was part of the social self. But uh, he had to live just kind of in a long roundabout way around the block, or fairly nearby to Mr. Ackerman. And when I made my great movie list, the list of the books, right now, I hadn't seen him for like 2 years, more or less. I, I went just before dinner time, strategic time, of course. I went to make sure that he was home and in the evening.
Huh.
I knocked on his door. Again, I didn't email him or anything like that. Right? So the next in the situation, I go to knock on the door. He opens the door. Oh, maybe, that was how he nicknamed me. And he was, what do you think? Oh my goodness. If I ever seen an older, sterner, and he was kind of stern and sort of former from old school back days. If I ever seen him close to tears, it was poor Mr. Ackerman. That, I could see his brain. I got through to at least one. I could see that going through his head. Because what I was doing was, every English teacher's complete and absolute dream, right? That your student would do something like that, that great reading. But they gave me some suggestions, some which were surprising, uh, which I thought were very cool, that I didn't see on any other lists, which are uh, yeah. Anyway, so this was cool, very cool. Just a little by the by story there, but this really made him happy, and you know how there are things that make you happy, that you can't. They make you happy in a sense that it makes
Mm.
you worthwhile. That was what had
Yes.
happened. I mean, I went there for my list, but I saw the effect on him. That he'd realized he'd actually had made a difference. Even if it was only to one student, it made his entire career worthwhile. Because by implication, to one,
Wow.
it was just very cool. It warms my heart to think of it. It really makes me happy. It makes me happy.
Yes.
Bring happiness to us.
And this is what is important in life. And again, just to
Yeah.
emphasize my takeaway on.
What's my intent, Say again.
Oh, sorry, sir, it was delay again.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I didn't go there with the intent to make him happy. I had a mission. I was making my list, and I shared with him what I had so far. And I was
Yes.
building the list. Very happy to add to it. And
Oh,
and I don't remember eating, but I think that, his wife, Mrs. Ackerman, was too. I think she may have invited me to dinner, and I don't remember though if we did or not. But anyway, but she was also very happy. She was very happy for Mr. Ackerman. Never known even she existed before. But you were gonna say, Beena, you were saying
okay. No,
saying
I was just saying that today's we both are a bit on our relaxed mode. But the sharing, the reading was so powerful because not only it gives me a different and a new more accurate perspective on what I was doing at the time. I'm not feeling ashamed of anything. I'm not feeling embarrassed. But this is really cool now to understand what I was doing because that
Yeah.
was curiosity. And curiosity
Agree.
to learn and grow is what really valuable. Mostly, I personally feel people who get into this trap because they do lack in discernment, so they accept that. Otherwise they go there by the willingness to learn and grow. Mostly, I'm not
Yeah.
saying of course all, but that intent get corrupted because of the lack of discernment and lack of self-trust. Because as Biella was saying that okay, nothing can be so easily deceived as a person who is willing or desperate to be, because mostly people who are okay alone, they feel alone, they feel outcast, they don't have anything to share with other people, so they desperately want to be included, as Syl was sharing. They desperately want to be okay in some happening really hip, so that they can have something to share with. And sometimes people just choose these type of things that okay, this is my interest, this is where I'm doing, and because there are big huge conspiracies going on, and I'm involved into that, that's why I'm not paying attention to the other things in life, which is again a escape way also. That okay, I am in not in regular conventional um, or should culture. Okay, they might
Yeah.
say that okay, I am into the other stuff, that's why I'm not paying much attention. I'm not succeeding in my career. That's why I'm not really good in my relationship. That's why I'm not doing good financially. A lot of reasons. That these cool stuff can provide them a escape way also, which is again a good reason for them to do that. This opens up a lot of things now for me, and I'm so happy for myself, and I'm so appreciative that it was appropriate for me at the time I was doing that, but also that my search was not ending there, and also that a self appreciation moment for me that I never give up on learning and updating. Yes, it's not comfortable to update. Oh, my newly acquired awareness. And this was so fun. And I was feeling good about myself that I have finally have something. And suddenly you have to update yourself again. It's not fun all the time to realize, to understand, and to become aware of that okay, no matter what you have learned, it's just still a bubble, and you have to pop it up and try to make a bigger bubble. But ultimately this is the ultimate fun, because at the end what is happening, I'm learning, I'm growing. So at this point today we are going to wind up this live today, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Tomorrow we will is
That's
Saturday,
right.
and
That's right. That's right. We
yes,
will
and
see
we will
you
take
on
a
Sunday. Brilliant.
yes, and we will take a break, and then
Yeah.
Sunday we will come with a lot of exciting stuff, and of course more energy also.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much whoever is going to watch us recorded on YouTube and also in the group. Please do subscribe to the channel, and also click like if you like it, leave a comment and share it, because by doing
Yeah.
so you are going to train your algorithm to give you real moreness in your life. And of course, by doing so, you are also going to help for others, because the more you are clicking like to these type of content of learning and growing, not only us, but of course, any of the channels you are liking, you are training the algorithm, you are providing data to the algorithm to actually assess that what people really want, not just nonsense videos to scroll in 30 seconds, but people really also want some real stuff. So please, for the sake of training the algorithm, do click like, leave comment, subscribe, and share.
Brilliant.
And thank
Brilliant.
you so much, Syl. We will see you guys on Sunday. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.